All right. Well, hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the April Google User Group meeting. We're going to go ahead and officially get started now. I know some folks have been here for a couple of minutes waiting for the meeting to get going, so we're going to go ahead and get started right now. This is a monthly meeting that we, well, typically monthly, not every month, but it's a monthly meeting that we shoot for from two different groups, although this is definitely open to anybody who would like to participate. We represent the Google Educator Group of Ohio, GEG Ohio, which covers the state of Ohio. And then we also represent Spark. Spark is what we call an information technology center up here in Northeast Ohio. We provide technology integration support to about 30 school districts up here in the Stark and Portage counties and surrounding areas. My name is Eric Curts, and I'm joined by my colleague Anthony Luscre. This monthly meeting is designed to cover all of the latest news and information about Google Apps for Education, as well as sharing some best practices and ideas on how to use Google Apps, as well as just answering questions that people have. Like I said, it is organized through the Google Educator Group of Ohio and Spark, but this is open to anybody. We don't mind where you're from. If you're from a different state or a different country or wherever, that is perfectly fine. Absolutely happy to have you guys with us. We do broadcast this as a live hangout, so we have quite a number of people who are viewing this live with us today, which is fantastic. We also do it in person, so people come here and actually sit in the room with us here at our Canton, Ohio location. But we also record this. So if you are viewing this live, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. If you're viewing this recorded in the future, that's fantastic. I'm glad that it's available to you in a way that you can fit it into your schedule. Definitely feel free to share this information with other people so they can watch this as well. If you want to get to all of the resources for this today, I know I mentioned this in the preview before we got started, but I'll mention it again real quick for anybody that missed it. What you want to do is go to google.apps.spark.org/user-group. Don't forget, Spark is spelled S-P-A-R-C-C, a little bit of a different spelling there. That address will get you to the page where we have all of the user group information. Looks like this. Here's that page looks like. If you scroll on down through that page, you'll see all the meetings from this year. So if you want to catch some earlier meetings, not a problem. Here's the one from March. You can go back to last month, look at the Google Doc. You can watch the recorded YouTube video from it. Same thing for all of the previous ones. And then, of course, today, here is the Google Doc agenda for our meeting today. Now, this agenda is editable, so you guys can type in here. This is a collaborative document. Anybody who wants to participate and type in this, you are more than welcome to do so. There are some spots that kind of lend themselves specifically to that. If you scroll on down, there's a Q&A section where you can add any questions you have, and there's a show and tell section where you can share some really cool stuff that's happening in your district. We would love to hear how you guys are using Google Apps for Education. At the same time, definitely just feel free to leave comments at any point. You can just highlight anything and use the little comment button that pops up on the side to leave a comment. That's fine as well. And lastly, if you want to move from just being a viewer to actually being a participant in the Hangout, we'd love to have you join the Hangout. You can just drop me an email at ericcurts@gmail.com. I'll try to take a look at my email on a couple of breaks throughout the meeting. And if anybody does send me an email, I'll be happy to send you an invite to jump in the Hangout so you can talk live with us and share some things as well. Don't have to do that, but we always want to extend the invitation to you guys if you would like to. All right, so that's pretty much who we are again. Hi again, I'm Eric, and this is Anthony. There's Anthony, he's right here next to me. Our contact information is available right there if you do need to get in touch with us at any point. Before we dive into the meeting, a couple important links that we want to mention for you. We're not going to go through all of these. You can do that on your own. Really the one that's the truly important one is the sign-in form. You'll see there's a Google User Group sign-in form linked right here. It's tiny.cc/gug-sign-in for Google User Group sign-in. And if you give a click on that, it's going to open up this Google form where you can fill out your information, choose the date of today's meeting and where you attended it, whether you're here here in person with us at Spark or viewing it online, that's perfectly fine. And if you would do that, we really appreciate it, because Google does ask that we collect this information and report numbers to them. We're not turning over like anybody's names or email addresses or things like that, but it allows us to be able to let Google know how many people attend these meetings. But the second thing we do with it is we generate a certificate of attendance for you. So if we have your name and email address and the meeting you attended, you will sometime after the meeting, I think I'm behind on one of them. I'll still need to do the one from the March meeting. Sorry about that, folks. I'll get that one sent out. I use AutoCrat to generate a PDF certificate of attendance, so you can turn this in for your professional development hours for attending this meeting. So by filling out that sign-in form, it allows us to be able to give you a certificate and also report to Google our numbers for these meetings. So that's fantastic. Next thing down, some quick updates. We get to we'll fill in the numbers live here today. I didn't put them in earlier, forgot about that, sorry. Like I mentioned, we've got two different groups that are represented by this, our Spark group and the overall Ohio group. If you would like to plug into some of these groups, these are Google Plus communities that you can join for free, of course, and that allows you to stay plugged in during the month in between the meetings. So in here under the update section, you'll see there's a link for the Spark Google user group, which basically serves the Northeast Ohio area, but again, anybody can join. And then the Google Educator Group of Ohio link is there, which again, anybody can join, not a problem at all. We're happy to have anybody join. It is, of course, specific, for Ohio, but anybody's allowed to join. So let's go ahead and pop on out to the Spark group, and let's open up the GEG Ohio group so we get them both open there. So just as an example of what a community looks like, this is the Google Educator Group of Ohio community. This is a Google Plus community, which means you can join this for free, and then you can come here and do a number of things. You can either just read what people post. I share information. Here's a great post from Katie. And if we scroll on down, we'll get to some other folks. Goodness, I've been posting a lot of stuff recently. You guys got to start putting a few more things in there. Sorry about that, guys. We got Amy. She's got a post there. Amy puts up quite a few from Amy. That's excellent. Google themselves have posted here. And as we keep on heading down, we'll hit a lot of other folks. There's Amy again, and Jim and Michelle and so forth. So this is a great way to share ideas or ask questions of the whole community. And we've got 1,175 members across the state of Ohio that are part of this community. So if you've got a question, somebody's got an answer. It's a great way to connect with other people. So come here and read, or come up here and post something. Share a link, or share an idea, or share a question there. So let's go ahead and update that number. 1175 is our GEG Ohio total. That's awesome, guys. Fantastic. And then for the Spark one, same idea, but this is more, again, generated around Northeast Ohio. We have, oh my gosh, I can't even see from over here. Anthony, can you see what that is? I can't even see how many that is. Yeah, exactly. The screen's a little far away. Let me zoom in. 683. Okay, I'm going, what? I can't even see it from here. They need to make those numbers bigger. 683. Okay, fantastic. So, all right. So that's enough with the updates. Let's move on to upcoming events. Now, normally we do webinars. We're entering into a different season of the year where we probably are not going to be having many, if any, webinars for a little while. Typically, Anthony and I do one webinar per week, so usually about 4 a month, not always, sometimes 3 or 4 a month. And you can access all of our previous webinars on our tech integration site. If you give a click where it says Spark Webinars and go to the previous webinars, you'll see we've got over 30 at this point. I don't know how many, 33 or so. I guess, Anthony, you could count and see, but there's a whole bunch of them there. 36. Oh my gosh, there's a ton of them here. And each of these webinars are an hour long. You can watch the webinar anytime you want, and you can get a certificate of attendance by taking the quiz at the end of the webinar. So it's a great way to, hey, if you're looking for a few more hours, it's close to the end of the school year, you need to pick up a few more hours, or you just want to learn something new, this is a great way to pick that up. So I guess what I'm saying is we don't have any scheduled at the moment, because we're heading into a time where, well, you'll see here in a moment, there's a lot of other things that suddenly come onto our plate, such as trainings. We will be running Spark Google boot camps again this summer. This will be the 3rd summer that we've done these. And so just as a quick info for you guys about these, we're running one at the end of June and then 2 of these in July. Now, what the Google boot camps are is they are 4-day training. So it's actually pretty intense. It's a lot of information. It's 4 days of intense Google training, in-depth Google training. And what it's designed to do is prepare you for the educator certifications. Now, you don't have to. I mean, if you don't want to take the certifications, that's no problem. We have a lot of people who come and do the boot camps just because they want to become better at Google tools. You know, their school has rolled out Google Apps and they're looking for somebody to be sort of a Google point person, or they themselves just want to dig deeper into Google. Perfectly fine. But we've designed the boot camps to prepare you for level 1 and level 2 certification. Now, obviously, we can't guarantee that anybody will pass the certifications. You still have to take the test. That's on you. But we will cover everything you need to know in those 4 days. All of the different tools from Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Doc Sheets, Form Slides, Drawings, Classrooms, Chrome, Blogger, Maps, YouTube, and more. All of those things. So those are available this summer. If you are looking for some in-depth Google training, definitely take a look at those. There is a cost for these, a little different than some of the things we do, like with our free webinars, just because this is 4 days and it's something that Anthony and I have to put a lot of time into preparing and running. But the registration is open. It is filling up really fast, though. So if you are interested, I would definitely encourage you to jump on that while there is still time to get in, and hopefully pick a date that works well for you. So that is a big thing coming up. And then the next big thing is conferences. We've got the Google Ohio Summit coming up in May. So those of you in the Ohio area, this one's going to be in Columbus this year instead of Kalahari up in Sandusky like it's been in the years past. I know I'll be there and Anthony will be there, and we will have a GEG Ohio booth there as well. So stop by and visit us, and we'll be doing several sessions as well, and really look forward to connecting with people. But our big thing is our conference. We do a Spark conference in Massillon, Ohio, so up here just south of Canton in Northeast Ohio. This is our 12th year of our Spark conference. Now, this is free. Anybody can attend this. There's no cost at all for this. The link is here, conference.apps.spark.org. Let's go ahead and open that up. And we've got 105 days, Anthony. Oh boy, hope we're ready. So this is August 5th. It's always the first Friday of August. It's an educational technology conference. Last year we had about 450 attendees with about, how many sessions? 60 plus sessions? 73 sessions. So it's really a fantastic conference with tons of great opportunities to learn. At the moment, our call for presenters is open. We have not opened registration yet. Registration will probably open early May. So I'm going to say about another 2 weeks probably, and we usually open it right around early May. But right now the call for presenters is open. So if you come to the site and go down to click to submit your session proposal, we would love to start getting more of those. We've actually got a ton. Many people have submitted, but we're always looking for new, fresh ideas. We're asking for May 20th to have those proposals in. So you've still got almost a month to do so. And if you're like me, yeah, you'll wait, you'll put it on your calendar and you'll submit it the last day, which I do all the time too. So I will not blame you if you wait till the last day, but I definitely just want to encourage people to do that. Anthony.
Now Eric, the conference fills up really fast as far as attendees go. So if you want to make sure that you know exactly when we open it up for registration, you want to be subscribed to.
Yeah, the best way to make sure you know when the conference opens, I mean, we'll blast it out on, you know, all the social media. There's a number of ways you can make sure you don't miss it. Because no, Anthony is right. I mean, because it's free. I mean, yeah, it literally fills up in a few days. I mean, it goes really fast as far as the registration. We have a link up here somewhere there under the important links. We have a link to our newsletter, the Sparklines newsletter. This is like a monthly email newsletter. We'll put it on there and we'll send out the newsletter the day that registration opens. So if you subscribe to the Sparklines newsletter, you will get that as an email the day that registration opens. But I'm also going to post it, of course, in the Spark Google user group, GEG Ohio. I'll put it on my Twitter as well. So yeah, so if you're in any way connected to us, you'll know all about it. Okay, well, that's enough of the business. Let's get into the actual meeting. Let me pause for a moment and see if there's anything we missed or if anybody had any questions or comments. We've done our intro, the important links, the updates, the upcoming events. We're about ready to move into what's new in Google. I'm going to check here in my comments and in the emails here and see if I've gotten anybody asking anything. Anthony, do you have anything? Oh, we do have somebody asking for an invite. So I am going to do that right now. Let me do that. So Anthony, why don't you talk while I'm doing that? And you have nothing to talk about. It's okay. No, I'm sending out an invite.
That's never a problem, Eric.
No, that's okay. I just had to send out an invite real quick to somebody who wanted to join in there. So we may have somebody jumping into the Hangout with us, and that is fine. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's get started. So what we do in our meetings is we start off with what's new in Google Apps. And we just basically try to cover everything that's happened new in the last month. And you know, that is always a bigger list than I think it's going to be. I always think, well, there's not that many new things. Oh yeah, there is. There's a whole page of new stuff in the last month. So we're going to go through some of these. It'll be like just, a few seconds. We'll just touch on it. Others really, we're going to spend a little bit of time because some of these are some pretty big news items for Google. While we're going through all that, don't forget you guys can add things in the Q&A section and the show and tell, or you can add comments in here as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing, and these are not in the order these are in is by date, so sometimes it gets a little weird. We jump around a little bit with topics, but it is organized by date. So since last meeting, all the new things. So the first thing that I was going to mention here that I thought was pretty cool is a new Chromebook that has been announced from CTL. And what makes this one different is that it is a touch screen convertible Chromebook, which you may say, well, Eric, that's not like brand new. I mean, we've heard of those before. I mean, there are, Anthony, you have a touch screen Chromebook, don't you?
Yes.
You've got like the Lenovo? No.
The early Acer.
The early Acer. Oh, you've got an early Acer, the 720p or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not like it's not like, oh, wow, it's touchscreen. I mean, we've had touchscreen Chromebooks and we've had ones that are convertible where they, they flip and they lay flat like that. I guess what really caught my eye was the price on this. It's supposed to be listing at $249. And now that's different because we've typically seen touchscreen Chromebooks. You're usually adding about $100 onto the price or more, so they're usually in the 300s or so. The fact that it is $249 for a nice solid Chromebook that also is touchscreen and lays flat, I thought was worth noting that is an awesome price for that. So just wanted to mention that. There's a couple more Chromebooks that pop up in the news here as we go through this today, but that one definitely caught my eye.
I think someone's trying to connect.
So far, I sent out an invite. We'll see. I'll take another look here. I will here. Sorry about that, guys. I know it's kind of like live here when we do these things. I'll do the invite one more time. Let me go ahead and copy this one more time, and I will send this out once more here. And again, we're happy to have you guys join us in the Hangout. If you would like to join us, that is perfectly fine. All right, back to the news. All right, next one I'm not really going to go into any real big details on, and that's Google Photos. Just again, they're adding new features to it all the time. They've now got an option that is sort of adding some new features to albums, so they're going to become more like stories. So as you upload photos, Google will suggest albums to put them in, and you now are able to start adding geotags to them, like what location the pictures were taken in, and you can add your own notes and stuff like that. So Google Photos, love it, use it all the time. So if you're looking to be taking a bunch of pictures this summer as you go on vacations, I would definitely encourage you to download the Google Photos app for your phone and let it start syncing your images. So as you're using your phone and you take a picture, it'll automatically sync up to Google Photos and all of your images will be there in nice friendly albums for you. All right, next thing up. Oh, hey, there we go. We did get somebody joining us here in the hangout with us, and it is Lucinda. Hi, Lucinda. Thanks for being here with us today. Feel free at any point if you've got something that, oh, no problem at all. Happy for you to be here. Whenever you've got something to share, just let us know, and we will be glad to chat with you. Awesome. All right. Next up, a new, more natural voice for Google Now. This article talks about how Google is updating their text-to-speech voice that you'll have if you're using Google Now on your Android phone. And you may not have even noticed it. I did, though, because this is the same voice that is used when I get my navigation when I'm using my GPS. And so I'm going to say about 3 weeks ago or so, I jumped in the car and I was heading off to a training, and I turned on my navigation. I was like, whoa, this sounds different. And it's not that the voice is necessarily crisper or cleaner or higher resolution. It's that the new voice they have chosen is more human, I guess, if that's a way to say it. Yeah, the cadence, the way the voice talks isn't so robotic, or I shouldn't even say that. Normally it's very deliberate and so forth. This sounds like somebody chatting with you. It just sounded like somebody was sitting in the car talking to me. So I just thought that was neat. It's not a major big thing, but I thought that was really cool that Google is working on more natural voices in their products. So as we talk about education and having text-to-speech, which can be very helpful for students, maybe a student who has reading difficulties, or if somebody has, who needs text-to-speech because they're not able to see, or if it's young children, I'm glad that they're moving toward more natural voices in that. It's always a great thing to see. All right, next up, Google is removing something called the App Launcher for Windows and Mac. Now, you may not even have this, so this may not be something that you even realize was there to be removed, but on a Windows device or on a Mac, there is the ability to download and install a little launcher. And what it does is, and this is a screenshot here to kind of show it, a little hard to see, but down in your taskbar at the bottom of your screen, you can get this little launcher here that if you click on it, what it does is it pops up and shows you all of your web apps that you've got installed. Now, if you don't have that installed, what we normally do is typically we go and we open up a brand new tab, and from the new tab, we go up to the top left and we click the apps button in the top left, and that takes us to our apps page, is all the pages of apps we have, and we go through and click on them. Well, what this did was this was a little downloadable program you could have that kind of mimicked a Chromebook, basically. So if you had a Windows or a Mac computer, you could have a little launcher in the bottom left-hand corner, give that a click, and it would pop up and show you all of your apps there. Well, basically I'm not sure why, but well, they say because it wasn't used a whole lot, Google is removing that. They're no longer going to allow that to be downloaded. But the really weird thing is, as you read through the article, they indicate in here that they're actually going to pull it from the computers where it's installed. So I guess it's got its own built-in uninstall or self-destructibility. So at some point they said that later on in July, they said it will not be until July that all instances of the launcher will be removed. So over the next few months, yeah, this little launcher is just going to start disappearing. So I didn't want anybody to be confused if suddenly your launcher was gone. That is why that would be happening. Right. Next up. This is for Google Apps administrators. So if you run your Google Apps domain for your district, this will apply to you. The admin console has been updated with some new results when you run a search. Let me show you what I mean. Let me go to my admin console real quick here. Head over to my admin console and sign in. All right, here we go. So this is our Spark admin console. And normally when you use the search box up here at the top, that was only to search for users. That was really all it was good for, and which was great. I mean, that was nice. If I needed to find a user, I would come up here and type in their name and it would find them for me. Well, that's not all it does anymore. What it does now is if I type something up here, it'll search for users. but it'll also search for help articles and for settings inside of the admin console. Well, what do we mean by that? Well, what I mean is, let's say you were like, okay, I need to go in and set the content compliance filter in Gmail, and I can't remember where it's at. Where is that setting at? And that happens to me sometimes. You know, I forget where a setting is that I don't use a whole lot. If I come up here and if I type in something like compliance and I run a search for that, what it's going to do is not just search for users, which I don't believe we have any users with the name compliance, but it's also going to find any of the settings here that relate to that. Like here is a help article on how to configure content compliance. Here's a link to the legal and compliance section of there. That would be another good example. Let's say I want to change something about calendar sharing. So if I go calendar sharing, and I run a, oops, if I could spell, that would always help. Spelling is always useful. If I say, let's, look for calendar sharing, it'll actually find the settings for sharing calendars. And so I can come right here and go, oh, there's the one, external sharing options. Give a click on it, and it'll take me right exactly to the spot in my settings where I need to make that change. So instead of going and clicking on lots of icons and drilling down and trying to find that thing you're looking for, you now can just run a search in the admin console. And how about that? It'll get you right to where you need to go. So thanks, Google. Appreciate your help in that. All right, the next one up. Google has released for free a collection of Photoshop plugins. Now, Google owns a ton of companies. They buy lots and lots and lots of things. At some point, I don't know when, they bought this thing called the Nik Collection. Now, I'm not a Photoshop user. I would love to be, but I don't actually own Photoshop. That'd be fantastic. But I am not a Photoshop user. But those that do Photoshop or who do some professional photography and professional photo editing, you may be familiar with this Nik collection. I am not. But the Nik collection was a collection of commercial plugins that would do things like sharpening your images or making things really very nice black and white, or adjusting the color. And these used to cost money. I think it was $500, I think is what I remember the whole collection of these Photoshop plugins were. Well, now they are free. Google has released them for free, so you can go to their site, and we've got the link in here. I think the second link might be it. Nope, that was the only link there. If I come down to here and click in the article, there we go. And I shoot over to the Google Nik collection. There's now a big happy blue download button to allow me to download all of these awesome plugins if I, again, am somebody who uses Photoshop, or I think it works with a couple of other tools as well. So I know it's not just Photoshop, but that's the main thing. All right, so thanks, Google. We appreciate that. So I guess if you're in a high school and you've got maybe, I know like some of our high schools do a graphic design program. I'm sure they're using Photoshop. Hey, go download these. All your students can now learn to use the Nik collection of plugins for free in your high school graphic design program. So excellent, good stuff. Okay, told you there'd be more Chromebooks. There's a couple more in the agenda today. The next one is the Chromebook 14 from Acer. Now, again, there's so many Chromebooks. Why would I pick certain ones? I just chose a few that caught my eye from the news. This one I thought was really neat just because I think it's one of the nicest looking, higher quality Chromebooks I've seen at a really affordable price. What I mean by that is, look at all the specs we get here. It's a 14-inch Chromebook to begin with. Okay, so that's really nice. So it's not the 11.6. This is a 14-inch Chromebook. It's full HD. Now you say, well, what do you mean by that? Normally, the screen on a Chromebook is 1366 by 768, 786. That's one of those. But it's usually 1366 wide, which is not bad, but that's not like really, really, really high resolution. This is an HD Chromebook, which means the screen is at 1080p. So it's 1920 by 1080. So 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. So it's a really high resolution screen. Why is that nice? it means you can fit more stuff on your screen at once. So example, I use TweetDeck a lot for when I'm using Twitter. And so if there's a Twitter chat going on, or if I want to check, my tweets and all the different, hashtags I follow, if I open up TweetDeck on something like a Chromebook, I can only fit like 3 columns on the screen. There's just no room for more than that. Well, with a high resolution screen, I can fit a whole lot more columns, or I can take a window and split it on 2 sides of the screen. So I've got one thing on this side and one thing on the other. It just gives you a lot more real estate to work with, which is nice. Also, it's all metal, so it's like all snazzy and pretty, and it has, believe it or not, a 14-hour battery life. So I was thinking, wow, that is a really, really attractive Chromebook with a lot of really nice features. And again, the price, $299. We're getting prices that are just dropping further and further all the time. So just wanted to mention that one as one that caught my eye out of the many Chromebooks that have come out or have been announced in this last month. Okay, next one. Sounds like a good thing. Probably not quite a good thing yet, but that's why I want to talk about it, because I don't want anybody to get confused on it. This next one is also for administrators, but it affects everybody. So this is good for everybody to know about. Sometime in the last year, I don't remember how long ago it was, but Google rolled out a new version of Google Contacts. Now, normally, if you go to Contacts, so if I come here and I go to my contacts, you get the normal looking contacts. So this is just regular old contacts here. Okay, that's how Contacts has always looked. Well, they rolled out a new option that you could opt into. I'm thinking it was almost a year ago. I remember testing it out. And it's just a much prettier version of Contacts with nice pop-up cards. And it really is. It's very attractive. It's a very nice looking version of Contacts. Well, it was optional. You could opt in. You were not forced into it. It is now available for Google Apps administrators to turn on for your users if you want to. Okay. So if I go back to my admin console, should have stayed there. Let me just go back in. And if I go to, I'll just run a search for Contacts. How about that? We'll use what we just learned, and I will just search for Contacts. And there it is. If I go into my Contacts settings, and if I go into the advanced settings, yes, give that a moment to open up. There it is. Let me zoom in or else you won't be able to see this. There we go. At the very top, we now have, as administrators, the ability to turn on, enable the new Contacts preview for all users. Now, this does not force people to have to use it. When enabled, your users can still switch back to the old version of Contacts. They're allowed to say, nah, this isn't for me. So you may say, well, why wouldn't you turn this on? If it's pretty and it's new and it's the new version of Contacts, wouldn't we want to use that? Well, here's the thing. Even though they've had this preview out for a year, it's still not done cooking. And I put a link in here, the second link over, so not the first link, which is the news article, the second link. The second link takes you to the Google support page that explains what's different about the new Contacts. And the big thing that's different is what's not available in it. So if I go to the bottom here and you take a look, you will see not available in the Contacts preview. You are not able to import contacts from a CSV file. You're not able to export contacts, and you're not able to print contacts. You also can't delegate them to an assistant. Not a lot of people do that, but I know people do the import and export. That is something definitely I've seen people, I do that, folks do that. They'll put together a contact list and they want to share it with somebody else, so they'll import them or export them. Well, you can't do that yet in the new version of Contacts. So I guess I just wanted to let you know, be aware that you certainly can turn this on for your users if you want, but you may want to let them know if they do try out the new Contacts that they will lose the ability to import and export contacts. Which again, may not matter to them. They may just be happy to have the new version, that's fine. But I just wanted to make sure people were aware of that. All right, next up. Turn on link sharing easily with a new button in Drive. All right, so when it comes to sharing a document or anything, a slideshow or whatever, most of us know there's multiple ways to share a file. So if I come here and I'll just go ahead and create a new document, and we'll just call this share test. And if I want to share this document, then I go up and I click on the big share button in the top right. we know there's two main ways to share. I can either type in people's names to share with them, or I can come up here and I can use the Get Shareable Link option to get a link that if anybody has that link, they can either view or edit or comment, whatever I set on the document. So this method of sharing is perfect if you know who you're sharing it with. Oh, I need to share this with these 5 people. Getting a shareable link is great if you don't know who's going to access the document. So maybe it is your students have written awesome stories or essays or poems, and you want to post them online. Well, you don't know who's going to view it. So you can't share the students' short stories with the world unless you come up here and get a shareable link. Then you take that link and you put that link on your website or a blog, or you tweet it out or put it on Facebook or whatever. And then parents and grandparents and people can click it and view it. So I do that, for example, with our agenda today. The reason why everybody here can view the agenda, well, I don't know who you are. I did not specifically share this with you. I went up and I changed the sharing so that anybody who has the link can access it. So as long as you've got that link, you can get into the document. Well, what Google's trying to do is make this easier, okay? So here's the idea. You can now get to the sharing section to get the shareable link from the Google Docs, Sheets, or Slides screen. Now, here's the thing. I wish you could do this from Drive, because I don't normally go to the Google Docs, Sheets, or Slides site. I usually go to Drive. Now you say, Eric, what do you mean? Well, what I mean is if I open up a new tab and I go to my waffle button in the top right, there's actually a Docs, Sheets, and Slides like home page. So if I come here and I say, oh, let's go to the Docs home page, what it takes me out to is a page where I see a listing of all of my documents here. Okay, so here's all my documents. That's different than me coming here and saying, oh, let's go to Google Drive and see all of my documents here. Okay, that's a little bit more, normal. I usually come here. Okay. Oh, no, look, Anthony, they did add it there now.
Oh, good.
Oh,
we
good.
don't allow you to go to those other
pages. Okay.
I strongly discourage people.
All right. So they have, it is here. Okay, excellent. So don't worry about that. It is where it needs to be. Excellent. I was worried about that. So no, if we come here to Drive, I'm glad.
We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah,
they did
there you go. So if I come to Drive and here's the one I just did, Share Test. We'll use that one. So I just did Share Test. If I come to Google Drive and I click on Share Test, up here in the top right, I now have this friendly little button that says Get Shareable Link. Now, if I click this, what it's going to do is basically give me a quick access to turn on the link sharing. And so instead of having to go to my share button and drill down into it, or right-clicking and going to share, or any other method you want to do to get to sharing, instead of that, I can just click on the Share Test button, click on the link up here, and turn on my sharing. Now, anybody who has this link is now able to view that document. Well, almost anybody. The biggest drawback of this, and I'm not complaining, but is if you're in a domain, like an education domain, it defaults to being anybody in your domain can view it. So if you're wanting to share this with like parents or community members or something, just this one click is not going to be enough, unfortunately, because all that's going to do is share it just within your domain. So you would still have to, guess what? You still got to go to the sharing settings. So if you want this link to be shared out beyond just your domain, you can do that, but you're going to still have to go to sharing settings, and you're still going to have to come here and go to more and say not just Spark, anybody with the link, and then save that. So I guess this is really nice if you just need to very quickly go in and share something with people in your domain. If you really need to, like your students, yeah. If you need to share outside of your domain, nah, you're going to still want to go into the advanced settings anyway. Let's keep on moving. Keep on moving.
I'm just glad they moved it off the documents page.
Next up, we have April Fools. Google always just does such a creative job with April Fools posts. So this year, there is a link I have that collected them all together. This was from the Google operating system blog. They tried to go through and find all of the different April Fool's things that Google posted. And there's some pretty good ones this year. I'll scroll down through these and just point out a few that I thought were pretty funny. So for example, if you come down, they have one called Google Cardboard Plastic. And so basically it's supposed to be, you know, obviously a joke on Google Cardboard. The idea being that if you put these on, you can pretend that you're using virtual reality when in fact you're using real reality. You're just seeing the real world around you. So they have a real fun time with that, which I think is funny because a lot of people complain, obviously, with technology taking you out of the real world. So that was a really cute video. Another one that was kind of funny, they have one about how drones are becoming so popular for delivery, and they talk about their new parachute delivery service. So that was cute. Another one that caught my attention was the self-driving bicycles. That was a great one. We've got the self-driving cars. They made a video for self-driving bikes, and it's really cute. It really is. It's really neat. And then this one is just funny. The style detection. So they said they've added a new API, the Google Cloud Vision API for style detection that allows you to scan what somebody is wearing, and it will identify what style they are, whether it's hipster chic or whatever it is. It's actually pretty cute. They did a nice job with that. And there's a lot more than just that, but those are some. I would encourage you to take some time, play around with those. They're a hoot. Now, not only Google got into things, but other tech companies did as well. And so there's a link next to this from 9 to 5 Google, where they go through all the same Google ones that we just talked about, but they pick up a few others. There was a few strays that I think the first one missed. And then they also pick up some from some companies that are not Google. So here's the same ones we already saw. But if I keep, they added, like, here's one with Google Play with the zombie apocalypse. That one wasn't in the first one. But if I keep going down, they've got things like one from Sony with their Proton Pack, sort of like a nod to Ghostbusters. And then they've got some other ones here from some different companies, T-Mobile, and some others that different tech companies put out. So those are always great. I like to use these in trainings. I think if you're a Google trainer, and you're doing some sort of training with your staff, there's a whole bunch of these April Fool's videos that Google's put out. I keep a collection of all of those, and they're just really short and fun to throw into a training just to break things up. So if you're doing a training, on Gmail, they've got a bunch of hysterical ones from years past on Gmail autocomplete, and there's the one with Gmail motion. There's so many really, really cute ones, and I just think they're a fun way to break up a training. Not that your trainings would be anything other than engaging to begin with, but it's always fun to throw those in. And I would encourage you guys to do that.
Eric, I think that the style search is almost there. If anyone's been using Google image search, you can actually start doing that sort of thing. You can start
probably not that far off of the reality.
You can see where the clothes people are wearing.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff.
Next up, I won't go into this one, but Google's launching Chromebase for meetings. We've had their Chrome box for meetings, which has been around for a while. Now the Chromebase, of course, is going to also include the built-in screen as well. So if you're looking for an all-in-one solution for your Google Hangouts in a conference room, Google, again, is doing work on that. Next one, just kind of cute, but I think it's worth mentioning. Google has these things called cards, and I never know what to call them, but that's what they call them, so that's fine. They're instant search cards. What that means is if you go to Google search and you run a search, every now and then things will pop up as a card with the answer or something interactive. So for example, if I go and I search for the word timer, most of you guys know this, it brings up a timer card. So I can actually set a timer and run it, and it'll count down or count up or whatever I need it to do in my class. Or if I'm, needing to give myself so much time to get something done or whatever the case is. They've added some new cards, and one of them is animal sounds. I mean, there's tons of them. There are so many of these cards. I mean, there is probably, I don't know, probably 100 different things you can search for, but they've added animal sounds. So if you say, what does the cow say? When you search for that, it'll actually bring up what the cow says, which, let me see if we can get the, I don't know if the volume will come through or not. There you go. You might have heard that. What does the cow say? Moo. They don't have a lot of animals, but if you scroll across here, you can see they've got a collection of different animals. You can click on any of those and it will go ahead and make that animal noise. Unfortunately, they don't have one for the fox, so we still do not know what the fox says, but we do have a lot of other animals there. So it could be fun for kids. Next up, Google released something called Tilt Brush. Now, there's a lot of VR stuff going on, and we mention this every Google user group meeting. There's so many cool VR things that Google is developing with Google Cardboard, with Google Expeditions, with YouTube, all this stuff. This is just one more piece of that puzzle. If you own what's called the HTC Vive or Vive, I really don't know how to pronounce it, so sorry about that. It is one of the more fancy virtual reality goggle sets, kind of like the Oculus Rift, kind of like Cardboard, but fancier. It's one that HTC has created. Google has released a free app for that called Tilt Brush. And what Tilt Brush does is basically it allows you to paint in 3D inside of the virtual reality. So when you put on those VR goggles and you run Tilt Brush, you can create paintings all around you, like in person, like in 3D. And then of course, those can be viewed by other people. And what Google did is they had a bunch of awesome artists go in and try this out. So they've got some videos here that you can watch showing these artists doing that painting. And so for right now, it's more of a something that's kind of limited. You got to have the HTC Vive. You got to, have access to that. So not everybody does. But I think that's really cool that they're paving a way for arts, which is a really important thing. Most schools are built on AAA, academics, athletics, and arts. And Google has a great commitment to the arts. So this is another awesome way to be able to do some arts in a new creative technological way. What's up next? Reminders for Google Calendar on the web. So it used to be that if you use Google Calendar on your mobile device, you could add what are called reminders. You could actually just open up your phone and say, okay, Google, remind me to pick up milk. I mean, it could be as simple as that. And what Google would do is add to your calendar what's called a reminder. Now, a reminder is different than an event. A reminder follows you. Basically, if you don't dismiss it, it follows you till tomorrow, and then the next day, and the next day, and the reminder keeps moving one day at a time, tracking you. It's kind of like the Terminator. It just keeps following you. Yes, you have to deal with it. And so a reminder is like an event, but it keeps following you until you click on it and say, I've done this, and you dismiss it. Well, the news is you can now do this on the web. So if I go to Google Calendar, and oh my gosh, my Google Calendar is a mess. I'm always embarrassed to bring up my Google Calendar. I have too many things on it here. But if I go to my Google Calendar, and if I were to click here on an open spot, you will see that I now can do an event like normal, and I can do appointment slots like we've always been able to do, but now I can do a reminder as well. So if I decide to do a reminder, I can put in what I want to be reminded of, and when, but again, if I don't take care of it, it will follow me until I do dismiss it. So just cool. Just heads up, that is now available for you on the web as well as mobile. Now, this next one I think is really cool. And it might just be because, I'm a dad whose daughter went through college not too long ago, and I'm going to have 3 sons who'll be going into college not too far in the future. And so I think this one just kind of resonated a little bit more with me. This is something I would really encourage schools, if you've got for your graduating seniors, please let them know about this. This is something that I would encourage you, if you, I don't know what you do with your seniors, if you send out some friendly emails at the end of the year to say, hey, don't forget this, don't forget that. I know we're getting close to the end, so you don't have much time left with your seniors, but these kids are about ready to leave your school. They're about ready probably to go off to college and enter a whole new world where, I know as a parent, I got nervous about my daughter being away at college, and, is she safe? Is everything okay? So what Google did is they created a brand new app called the Companion app. And this is really slick. They really put a lot of neat thought into this. So here's how it works. Basically, it's a mobile app. So for your Android phone or your iPhone, you can download this for free. It's called the Companion app. And the way it works is, let's say, I'm a college student and I'm walking home late at night back to the dorms. I'm leaving the apartment. I'm leaving, wherever I'm at. I've been in the library and I'm heading back, and I want to get to my dorms or to my off-campus housing or whatever. And I'm maybe a little nervous. It's late at night. It's dark. What you can do is the student can fire up the Companion app. And what they do is they click a button to add companions. Now, when you go to add a companion, basically it just needs an email address. So you could add, a friend, you could add your mom, you could add your dad, you could add, a brother or a sister, you could add a cousin, you could add anybody, you could add a bunch of people. And what it does is it alerts that person live right at that moment that, hey, so-and-so has just added you as a companion. They are wanting you to keep an eye on them. Now, the people on the other end don't even have to have the app installed. It'll actually launch right to a web page where they can, now if they have the app, that's fine. But they don't even have to have the app installed. They just click the link, boom, it launches right to a web page. And what the people are going to see is a map, and the GPS on the person's phone is going to track the person as they walk back to the dorms or walk back to their apartment, so that the companion, 600 miles away, sitting on their couch at home, mom, dad, whoever, can watch to make sure that their child or whoever is getting safely where they need to get. Now, not only that, but there's other buttons on there. There's an I feel nervous button and a call police button. So if I'm, again, this young college student trying to walk back to my dorms, and I've added some companions, but I'm getting concerned, I'm feeling nervous about something, I can click the I feel nervous button. And what that does is it will prompt the companion to check in. So maybe the companion, thinks everything's going fine. They set their phone down. It'll start beeping again and say, I need you to check in with me. Or if they tap the call police button, it'll dial 911 immediately for them. Not only that, this is brilliant. The app also detects sudden changes, like the user running or removing their headphones. And if so, it'll send a notification to the user saying, are you okay? Okay, so if it thinks something's wrong, if the phone thinks something weird is happening, it'll pop up this on the screen. And the user has to say, yes, I'm okay. If there's no response within 15 seconds, it notifies the companion, who can then call the police. And then the app will start making siren noises and go into alert mode until the user confirms they are safe. I mean, I just think this is brilliant. What a neat idea to take Google Maps, build this app on top of it. Such a simple thing, but to help keep kids safe. So please, schools, let your graduating seniors know. Please encourage them to download this free app. Tell their parents about it. Make sure that they're aware of how it works, so that if they're ever in a situation where they feel unsafe, they can use this. So cool stuff. Just wanted to mention that. I thought that was really neat. All right, let's keep on going. And again, please, anybody who needs to interrupt at any point, please feel free to. You can either just highlight something and throw a comment in the side here, that's fine. Or don't forget, you can always throw things in the Q&A and the show and tell section down here. All of those are fine. Or drop me an email. I'll be keeping an eye on that too. Or Anthony, yes. Anthony probably can check it easier. Remember, our email addresses are at the top under the introduction. There's my personal, there's my work, and then there's Anthony's work address up there. All right, let's keep on heading down here. We're doing good. Next up, Google Drive plugin. All right, the Google Drive plugin for Microsoft Office is a really neat tool. I actually did a webinar on this not too long ago. I probably should add the link for that in there if you want to get some more details here. Where's it at? Oh, there it is. Using Microsoft Office and Google Drive. I'm going to add this into the agenda, so if you want more details, you can catch this webinar as well. I'll add that in as I explain what this thing does. So let me go, oops, let me add this in. Beauty of a live document, we can just edit it on the fly. There it is. All right, so what is this all about? So basically, Google released, I don't know, it's been a while, a year or so ago, a plugin for Microsoft Office that basically allows you to store your Microsoft files in Google Drive, but open them in Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and live save them right back to Drive. So I've actually got this installed. I could probably show you guys. Let me bring up my Word real quick here, and I'll drag it over just so you know what I'm talking about here. So let me pull Word over. So here's Word. If I go to Word and I go to open a document, you will see that when I go to open a document, and yes, believe it or not, I do have Word on my computer. Yes, I use Google Docs like 99.9% of the time, but I do still have Word on my computer. I now, because I've got this plugin installed, I can open things directly from my Google Drive. And if I go there, it'll ask me to sign in. So I'd have to sign in to my Drive. But once I sign in, I won't really sign in right now, but once I sign in, what it does is it gives me access to my files. And so I can open any file that's like a Microsoft file saved on my Drive. I can open it right inside of the original programs, Word, PowerPoint, Excel. And after I open it, I can save it. And when I click the save button, it saves it directly right back to my Google Drive. So what's nice about this, let me go ahead and close out of that, maybe. There we go. Okay. What's nice about this is it makes it seamless to be able to use Microsoft files, but keep them stored in your Drive. Because normally if you go to your Drive and if you put a Microsoft file there, you would have to come to Drive, you'd have to find the Microsoft file. I mean, I'm sure I've got one in here somewhere. Well, here's a PowerPoint. Like I could take this PowerPoint, I'd have to come here, I'd have to download it. Then if I edited it and I re-uploaded it, guess what? I'd have 2 copies of it now. Well, you don't have to do that. This plugin allows you to be able to edit them live from Office programs. Well, they have updated the plugin now to include Outlook support. So what that means is now, not only does that integration work with Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, it also works with Outlook. So if I'm in Outlook, which again, I don't use Outlook, I do use Gmail, but if you are in Outlook, I can now in Outlook say I want to attach a file. And if I go to attach a file, instead of having to attach just from my hard drive, when I go to attach a file, I can attach it from Google Drive, and it will grab it from my Drive. But also if somebody sends me an attachment, I can save it straight to my Drive. So instead of having to download it to the computer and then upload it to Drive, any attachment that's been sent to me in an email, I can save it directly to my Drive. So I thought that was a really nice update they made to now incorporate it into Outlook. Good stuff. Next up, a new feature in Classroom. They've added the ability to do polling. So if you haven't seen this yet, when you go to Classroom and you add, in the past, when you add a question, you could basically just add what was called a short answer question, where students would go in and respond to your question. Now, when you add a question, you can choose multiple choice instead. And when you choose multiple choice, you can put in different answers for the kids to choose from. And as students in Google Classroom start answering that question, much like a Google form, it will collect their answers and it will create a little bar graph for you. So create a question, choose multiple choice, put in your question, put in your possible answers, and then when you send that out and the kids start completing it, you will get a really awesome bar graph showing their responses. So just another way to interact with your students in Google Classroom. If you want to do a quick formative, question to check on understanding of content, or if you want to do, some brainstorming about something the students read the night before, or just try to generate some interest in your classroom discussion. So awesome. Thanks, Google. That's a neat feature. We'll skip over the Google Photos. We mentioned that already. There's just some updates to Google Photos. That's nice. This next one we won't spend much time on other than to let you know that it exists. Google has tons of computer science resources, basically coding. You know, that's a big thing. Obviously, they're built all on coding, and so they want students to become coders. Well, they have a ton of resources, and it was getting a little bit unwieldy. They had just all these different programs available. Google has now pulled all of their computer science resources onto one site. So if you follow this link out to the article, and then we click on the link to that site, this is now the site. It's google.com/edu/CS for computer science. And so everything about learning computer science, participating in opportunities, career opportunities, meet our partners, you can come in here and say, oh, I want to learn computer science. Well, click there, and all the different things they do. Say, okay, I want to learn about coding, or people do student learning. I want to do some student learning. Well, here's, Made with Code, CS First, Code to Learn, Call to Code, Hash Code. All of their different programs are now housed under this one particular website. So if you, again, in a school setting are doing anything with coding, if you've got computer science for your students, definitely take advantage of this nice central repository of all of Google's free coding resources. In addition to reminders in Google Calendar, we now have goals. That's the next thing. Google Calendar has added goals on mobile. So how is a goal different than a reminder? Well, basically, it's sort of like an even more pesky reminder. Let's put it that way. You can now go on mobile and you can set a goal. You can say, I want to work out, so many times a week, or I want to practice, violin, or, whatever it is, I want to do whatever. You can create a goal, and then you can tell the program how often you want to do this, or when is a good time for you. In this case, they want to exercise 3 times a week, for how long, and the evening is best. Now, what happens is Google Calendar will schedule this for you. It's kind of like your own personal assistant. It will look at your calendar, and it'll say, okay, you said 3 times a week you want to exercise for 30 minutes. Okay, I found a spot on Tuesday, one on Thursday, and one on Sunday. And it will actually put those on your calendar in the open spots you have. If something else gets scheduled, it'll move them around. If you miss something, it'll reschedule it for you. So basically, it's helping you achieve your goals. So it's like reminders with even a little bit more ability, a little bit more flexibility for it to help schedule those in for you. So I would imagine for a school setting, kids could use this for studying or for working on a project, or again, just, practicing their instrument for band. That's fantastic. That's good stuff. Next up, not much to mention on this other than just to let you be aware, Google hosted a math summit not too long ago. A lot of times people think that Google, to become a Googler, to get employed there, you have to be a computer science engineer, which is often true. I mean, they typically hire programmers. They had a summit where they brought in college students who were majoring in math to say, you know what? You too could work at Google. And they talked about how math majors can be a really good match for what Google is looking for. They talked about what they could do to improve their chance of getting hired at Google, some things they might want to pick up as far as some computer skills. But I thought that was neat that they were showing some love to mathematics and letting people know that a career in math can also lead to a career in Google, at Google. Next up, Google Communities get stricter filtering. Now, you saw communities just a little while ago. The GEG Ohio site is a community site. So if I head back up to our GEG Ohio link, this is a Google community. Now, the problem with Google Communities is when they, whoops, I grabbed the Spark one. That's fine. We'll use the Spark one. The problem with Google Communities is when they become popular, they start attracting spammers. So if you end up getting a community that has, thousands and thousands of members, it becomes kind of a target for people that want to post advertisements and things like that. Sometimes it can be really inappropriate stuff, like, it's things that would not be something you'd want to show up in a school setting. So if you were a teacher, you're like, oh, I'm going to go to the GEG Ohio site, and you're sitting on your teacher computer and you bring it up and there's a student standing next to you and suddenly something inappropriate shows up. Well, I mean, we definitely, besides us, yes, besides our pictures, you definitely don't want that to happen. So thankfully, Google has rolled out much stricter content and spam filtering. So as you can see, I have, as the moderator of our Spark Google group, it says I have 6 posts that have been flagged as spam. And that's just within the last day or so, because I usually keep those cleared out. So as the owner, I'm going to have to go in and click that and find out what they are, delete them because they probably really are spam. But if there's one that is good, I'll of course let it through. But that's the nice thing, is these are now getting caught before they get displayed. So thank you, Google, for doing that. I know some educators were getting nervous about inappropriate content showing up in the communities. All right, Google Save. We'll spend a little bit more time on this one. I don't know that it's really called Google Save. I don't think it really has a name. I named it because
Eric's secret tool.
Because I don't know what it's called. Over the last month or so, Google has started to roll out a new tool, and they haven't really documented it much. They haven't said much about it. They've started to post a little bit more recently. But they have rolled out this new thing, which I'm calling Google Save. And I actually posted an article about it on my Control-Alt-Achieve website here. And basically what it is a website. It's at google.com/save. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up here. google.com/save is the website. And if you go there, it'll say, hey, welcome to your new home for saved images and links. It says, if you're running a Google image search and you find a picture you like, you can save it here. Or if you're on a website and you want to save the link to the website, you can use the Save to Google extension to save it here as well. After that, you can tag your images and links and keep them organized. So I'm like, okay, what is this thing? Is it bookmarks? Is it Drive? What is it? Okay, well, let's take it for a spin. Let me show you what it is, and you can kind of decide if this is something that you might want to take advantage of. So again, it's google.com/save. That's the website. So I'm going to say got it. I don't have anything saved on this account. I haven't done anything on this account yet. But let me show you how you can get things there. So again, I'm just referring to the article I put together on it because there really wasn't much information. This one, it's starting to show up other places now, but it was kind of radio silence. We didn't know much about what this thing was. So you get to it through that site, and then you can either add images or you can add websites to it. So if you want to add an image to it, the way you add images to Google Save is you have to do an image search at Google Images. So if you go to images.google.com, and if I run a search there for something, it doesn't really matter. I'll just run a search. I'll just run a search for the Android guy. That's fine. And if I say, oh, here's a cool picture, of the Android guy, and I click on him, there is now a new button over here on the right, actually 2 new buttons on the right, one that says Save and one that says View Saved. Any image you come across in Google Images, if you click Save, it will add it to your Google Saves or your Google Save or whatever this service is called. So by clicking Save here, if I go back over to the My Save screen and I refresh this, that image is now there. So at google.com/save, that little Android image is there. If I grab another little Android guy here and save him, he'll show up there as well. Now I can also click View Saved, and that will shoot me out to the same site. So either way is fine. You can get to it either way. So once those images start getting collected there, we can organize them, and I'll show you that in a moment. So that's one way to do it. Okay. What's the other thing you can do? Instead of just saving images, you can also save websites. Now, to do that, you have to have a special extension, which is the Save to Google extension. This is not the Save to Google Drive extension. That's a totally different extension. Save to Google Drive has been around for a long time, like as long as I can remember. That's a totally different extension. That saves things to your drive. This extension is called Save to Google. And if you add it, what it does is it puts the little Google Save icon up in your extensions. There it is. So now if I go to a website, like I'll just go here to our Control-Alt-Achieve website, I can now come up to the very, very top right-hand corner, click on the Save to Google extension, and it will let me save that web page to my Google Saves. Now I can add a tag to it there if I want, but I can also add a tag when I'm actually in the site. Let me grab another one. Let's go back and we'll save another one here. So let's come here and we'll add that one as well. Boom, there we go. So now if I go to my saves, and by the way, you can also get to your saves through the icon. So if I right click on the extension up here, I can say view saves there as well, and that takes me out there. So basically it's collecting web pages and pictures. Now once they're there, I can click on them. If I want to view them, that's fine. But I can also tag them. So let's say I wanted to organize these together. I could grab both of these guys here and say I want to add a tag and say I want to call this Google Pics. So I want, all my Google pictures tagged. All right, so now I've got a tag for Google Pics. And maybe I'll do the same for my Control-Alt-Achieve blog post, add a tag for that. We'll call this Ed Tech Posts. Oops. Ed Tech Posts, there we go. And now as I'm tagging these things, I now have on the far left a tags icon that if I click will start showing me my collected tags. So here's all my Google Pics, or here's all my EdTech posts. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of Pinterest. It looks sort of like that. These are kind of like Pinterest boards. Each tag is a collection of pictures or posts, and you can add things to it either by the extension or by going to Google Images. So I guess the question I have is, where does this fit into everything? We've already got bookmarks if we want to save pages. This is kind of like bookmarks. I've also got the ability to save things like images to my drive with the Save to Drive extension, or I can save images to Google Photos with the Clip It Good extension. So I've already got ways to do that. I'm not totally sure where this fits in. Some people think, is this going to replace bookmarks? Are they going to phase out bookmarks and put this in place of it? I kind of wonder. They had like a Bookmarks 2.0 that Google piloted about a year or so ago that they called Google Stars. And the icon for this is a star. So I don't know if this is what that was and they kind of rebranded it, or if they're going to take another stab at it and make this become the new bookmarks. I guess I'm not really sure, but it's fun to keep an eye on and see. For people that are more visual, I think this is a very attractive way to organize your bookmarks. I could see this being really a neat way. We don't have yet the ability to share things. That needs to happen. So like if I create a tag, like, if this was like Pinterest, I could now come here, click on my group, and I should be able to share my Pinterest board. I should be able to share my tag of saved posts and images. There's no option for that yet. So my guess is that's to come. If we come here, I can delete it, or I can, change the tag, and that's about it. So let's keep an eye on it, see where it goes, but this could be a fun way to organize things as well. All right. Getting close to the end of what is new. Oh, we got some comments. Eric, do you know if you can share your saved collections? Boy, Katie, that would have been the perfect segue. I apologize. I did not see your question there. You were thinking exactly the right thing there, which is, yeah, as I said, no. At the moment, we can't, but you're right on the money. That is the next logical step. Let's watch for that. Now, Michael says, can't Google Keep do the same thing? Hang on, Michael. It's down a few more bullets. You're exactly right. So hang on a second, Michael. You have given us a great segue. So we'll see that in just a moment here. All right. And Anthony, if I do miss any of these comments, give me a holler if you see something that I didn't see. So, yeah, let me know, because I may be missing a comment that somebody has put in. Yeah, Q&A is fine too also. All right, next up. Drive for PC and Mac now lets you select what you want to sync. A lot of folks don't use Google Drive for PC and Mac. if they're in a school setting, because it's better for like a personal computer, like a computer where it's just your specific computer. But what it is, and I wish they called it something different. I mean, I wish it was something other than Google Drive for PC and Mac, because people think it's Google Drive. Google Drive for PC and Mac is a downloadable program that you install on your PC or Mac that syncs everything from your drive to your computer. Well, I shouldn't say everything. It syncs a folder. It syncs what you want it to sync, is I guess what I should say. And that's exactly what I'm leading up to, is they have now added the ability for you to micromanage this. When I do this at home, I have a single folder on my computer, which is basically my, my sync folder. And anything that I put in there automatically syncs up to my Google Drive. Anything I put in that folder and Drive syncs, to my local machine. This new release allows you to go in and micromanage by turning on which folders and subfolders you want. Maybe there's a specific subfolder inside of the others that you don't want to sync. Okay, just uncheck that one, and now it won't sync that anymore. Now, when we say sync, please understand what it is syncing is non-Google files. It's syncing PDFs, images, Word docs, PowerPoints. It looks like it's syncing your Google Docs and your Google Slides and your Google Sheets. It is not. It's syncing a link to them. It does not actually sync your Google Docs to your computer. If you go to your computer and you say, well, it says my doc is right there, and you click it, all it is a link. It's like a 1 byte file, or 8 byte file. So it's a little teeny file that basically is just a link to your Google Doc. But anyway, I do use this. I think it's a great way to sync things on my home computer. You can now, though, micromanage it. Up next, Google Play gets podcasts. All right. Well, this one I was really excited about because I love podcasts. I love them, love them, love them. I subscribe to, I don't even know how many, way too many, 30, 40, I don't know how many I've got on my phone. And I listen to podcasts when I'm, driving, plug it into the car stereo, when I'm, mowing the lawn, when I'm going for a walk, whatever. I listen to them all the time and learn so many awesome things. If you don't subscribe to podcasts, no matter what you're using, iTunes or whatever it is, you absolutely should. There are just so many amazing educational podcasts, ways to learn something new and stretch your mind. So when I saw that Google Play was getting podcasts, I was excited. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is one more convenient way to get them. Because Google used to support podcasts with an app they called Google Listen. There was an app for your phone. I used it. That's what I used. Google Listen was my podcast app. And they killed it. I don't know, 2.5, 3 years ago. I don't remember how long now, but they killed Google Listen. About the same time they killed Google Reader, which was the blog RSS feed tool, which I still don't understand. I mean, Reader and Listen were awesome. There's no reason for them to kill them, but they did. They got rid of them. So I was happy to see they were bringing it back. Well, honestly, folks, for my opinion, it's not done cooking yet. What they've created for Google Play Podcasts is really basic, really, really, really basic. It is not at all going to replace what I'm currently using. It's going to be a while. They're going to have to develop a lot more stuff. So basically, let me show it to you. Let me see if I can pull up. I'm going to have to drag it from my other screen. Let me grab this and let me drag this over. And let's go to Google Play. So this is my personal account. So we're going to find out, what music does Eric listen to? Yes. This is time to find out what kind of a nerd I am. Okay, so let's go to music. Let's go to my music. So this is Google Play, okay? Play.google.com/music/listen, all right? So if I go to Google Play Music, this is where I normally go to, listen to music, okay? So this is Google Play Music. Now, if I come here and click the little waffle, no, not the pancake button, sorry. Click the pancake button in the top left of Google Play Music, I can now come down to a podcasts section. And if I click on podcasts, it now brings up top podcasts, and it also brings up categories of podcasts like education. And it also brings up my podcasts, which are the ones I'm subscribed to. So I went ahead and subscribed to a bunch of them just to, again, test it out. These are all great. If you are looking for anything to listen to, I would definitely encourage Freakonomics Radio, Hidden Brain, Reply All, Radio Lab is amazing. The Illusionist, The Moth, 99% Invisible. Anthony, yours look the same as mine?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. These are all stuff you should have. These are all, and this is a small collection. I have way more I subscribe to on my phone, but these are all just phenomenal, phenomenal podcasts. Well, here's the issue, guys. It's hard to find stuff in it. If it's not in their top podcast, or if it's not in the top within that chart, like if I come here to technology, if it's not in that top group, I have to search for it. And that's really not that good. I mean, there needs to be a more button. This needs to scroll down. I need to see more than this. If I don't know, I'm not going to find stuff. That's the beauty of discovering new podcasts. And this is really, really limited. Not only that, but I can't tell which ones I've already subscribed to. I've already subscribed to Reply All. Well, unless I come down to the 3 dots and see unsubscribe, I don't even know I'm subscribed to it, So there should be something here that indicates, that I've already subscribed to it, other than having to come over here to, see those. Not only that, if I come here and I say I want to, listen to a podcast, normally a podcast collector will know which ones I've listened to and will gray them out or remove them or let me know that I've listened to them. This doesn't do that. So it's really just not anywhere close to what I'm looking for yet. So for now, I still use, if you want to know what I use Podcast Addict for Android. It'll probably come up here if I run a quick search for it. There it is. I use this one. I use Podcast Addict. Now, I mean, I'm sure there's tons of these out there. Please use whatever works for you. This one's free. It works on Android, which is what I use, and it's great. It's wonderful. I can go in and subscribe to things. I can tell it how many episodes to download at once. I can it tells me what I've read. It keeps track of where I'm at. I also love it. Lets me adjust the speed of playback. That is really sweet. So I listen to all of my podcasts at 1.5 times the speed, because most people talk slower than we can understand. Your brain processes things a lot faster than people talk. So I try to save myself as much time as I can and get as much things in. So I ramp all of my podcasts up to 1.5 times the speed. That way I can get through them a lot faster. Then if I ever slow them down, it's really a weird experience. Suddenly, my favorite hosts sound like they're very depressed. I'm like, why are they talking so slow? Why are they so depressed? Well, it's because I'm normally listening to them at very rapid speed. So anyway,
my wife always says that she wants to be able to slow me down with the control.
Okay.
I'm talking,
so anyway, yeah, I just wanted you to know that podcasts are available for Google Play. My guess is this is still being developed. I've heard rumors that there's supposed to be a intelligent suggestion feature where, because you've subscribed to these, you might like these. So I'm positive Google's going to do a great job with this. It's going to develop into a great mature product. It's going to work great. Just heads up, it's more of an early adopter thing right now. If you want to play around with it, great, but it's not yet better than other options out there. Up next, YouTube gets live 360-degree streaming. So not only can you stream live on YouTube, you can now stream 360-degree video live on YouTube. Obviously, you've got to have that special camera bundle. It's like a whole bunch of GoPros all strapped together in like a ball, and you can record with that. But if you want to see some video to see what it's like, they did this for Coachella, the Coachella Music Festival. So if you go out to the Coachella website, they have a bunch of these. You can come in and go to some of the 360 VR ones that were recorded. Let me see if I can bring one of these up here. There it is. And now if I come up here, you see here's the video. I can grab and I can drag the video around and I can see 360 degrees. Now that's not new. Google's been able to do that for a while. The point is though, you can do it live now. People can live stream 360-degree video. So again, just the immersion we're going to be able to have is just incredible when you think about students being able to like be there and feel like they're really at a place. Talk about virtual field trips. That's going to be awesome. You know, a field trip to the zoo or a field trip to an ancient artifact, or to the Louvre, or to a trip on Mount Everest, or wherever. You're going to be able to really, really, really feel like you are there. So Google has got quite a commitment to VR and 360 and all of that stuff. It's really awesome. We're kind of running out of time here. I do want to get to the other stuff, so I'm just going to mention real quick a few last things. You can now choose which files get saved for offline access. Docs, sheets, and slides. You've always been able to save things offline. You can now specify certain ones that you definitely want to get saved offline. That's nice. Next up, Google is also getting into what's called augmented reality. So we talked about VR. This is AR, and there is a difference between VR and AR. Google has a company called Magic Leap, one of the companies they bought. And what it does is it allows for augmented reality. I would say, well, Eric, what's the difference? Actually, folks, this is what really excites me. I think augmented reality is the coolest thing of all. So basically, augmented reality is different from virtual reality in the sense of this. If I'm doing virtual reality, I'm putting goggles on my head that are completely blocking my vision. All I can see is what's in the goggles. So I'm seeing Mount Everest. I'm seeing, Petra. I'm seeing, a jungle. I'm seeing whatever. And as I move my head around, the image changes to show me my surroundings. I can't see the room I'm in, though. I mean, I'm basically, it's like I'm immersed in there. AR, augmented reality, is not that. AR, you put on some goggles, but you can see through them. So you can actually see goggles or Google Glass or whatever. You put something on your face and you can actually see your room. You can see your desk. But then what it does is, because you're looking through a screen, you're looking through something that can be projected on, it can then project into that vision virtual things. So this video here, if you end up playing it and watching it, you will see this person's looking around their office, and while they're doing, different things are popping up. So it's superimposing in your environment, emails or graphs or websites or 3D models. And so the point is, it allows you to bring information into your environment and augment what you're seeing. So this would be, I think, an awesome way to have that extra monitor that you don't normally have. Suddenly you just open up another monitor and you throw, maybe this becomes our monitors. We don't even have monitors in front of us. Instead, we're just looking through this, Google Glass type of a contraption, and the monitor is floating in the air in front of us there. And as we move our head, it stays where it's supposed to be. And then we need a second or third monitor. Don't have to pay for one. Don't need an HDMI cable. Don't need a splitter. You just open up another monitor in the in the AR program, and you can now use that just like it's really there. And of course, there's tons of really neat, options for, students as well, to be able to bring, again, educational resources in that aren't really there. So you could have models of mathematical 3D shapes that, show up on your desk, and you can stack them and move them around even though they're not really there. You're just seeing them. So I'm really excited to see where AR goes. And there's a neat preview of that in that video. So I'd encourage you to watch that. Earlier, we had the discussion about Google Save, and we had that wonderful comment that popped up in the sidebar saying, doesn't Google Keep do this as well? Yep, it does. So now there's an article out there that Google Keep has now added a new extension that allows you to, guess what? Yep, save images and web pages directly to Google Keep. So yeah, it does exactly the same thing that Google Save does.
Google enigma we don't sure.
So we've got, okay, so let's figure this out. We got Google Save. We've got Google Keep that now does that too. We've got Save to Drive. We've got Clip It Good to save to photos. We've got bookmarks. Okay, I'm not totally sure exactly how this is all going to work in the end, but we do have an awful lot of different options for saving things you come across. So let's put it this way. You have no excuse. There's a way that will work for anybody.
My wife wants me to get Google Pitch so I can pitch things instead of saving them.
Oh, now that's perfect. That should have been the April Fool's thing. Instead of Google Save, Google Pitch or Google Throwaway, yes. So you can clean things out. That's awesome. And the last thing. Oh my gosh, we made it to the end of the news. Holy cow, that was a lot of news. One more Chromebook. Again, I don't put tons of Chromebook stuff in here unless it catches my attention. I know we just saw the Chromebook 14 just a little bit ago. That was the one that I said I thought was really cool with the high definition screen and the 14 hours of battery life and the real nice metal body and just really, really nice. Well, they've turned around and in less than a week or so, they've now announced another one, the Chromebook 14 for work. So basically, it's the same device, but massively ruggedized. So it's got the high definition 1080p screen. It's got the powerful battery. You know, it's really, really nice, but they have added all kinds of crazy ruggedization on this. So basically, they say it's been tested at military standards. It can be dropped from 4 feet in the air. It can withstand high and low temperatures, humidity, vibration, rain, sand, dust. It is spill resistant with drain gutters to take fluids out that spill on it. It's got Gorilla Glass on the body of it as well. It also has a little bit lower battery life just because it's pushing so much more there. It's 10 hours in the HD mode and 12 in the non-HD mode or HD model, but still that's really good. But then look at what it comes in. There's the normal 2 gig and 4 gig, but it comes in an 8 gig version, which I think is really nice as well. And of course, 16 and 32 gigs for storage. So, and again, starting at $349. Now I'm sure that's the 2 gig version, but still, holy cow, what a ruggedized Chromebook with a lot of great features. Just thought, again, that was worth mentioning. And that's it. Okay. So that is all of the news. At this point, we're going to take a look at your questions and answers and talk a little bit about show and tell. Then Anthony always has a section under show and tell also where he talks about searching. So just as we're getting ready to switch into this section, I just want to remind you guys, when I do put this video up later, when it's available on YouTube, I do try to go through and actually add timestamps for every item in here. So if you need to get back to something and catch one of these again, you don't have to scroll through the whole entire video. You can look at the description below the video, and I'll have in the YouTube description timestamps for all the different items, and you can just jump straight to them. So I know it's a lot of information, but afterwards you can actually get back to these pretty easily. So let's take a look at what has been popping up here for show and tell. I know we've got that screen, but I'm also double checking on mine to see if we've got anybody else here. Looks like we had one person who was interested in joining the Hangout. It's not too late. Let me see. I will try to see if I could add somebody in real quick. They can't join, that's okay, but if they can, I did get an email just a bit ago from somebody who was wanting to join if they could. So I will send that off to them. And I don't think there's any more that I see. Anthony, you didn't see anything else either?
Just the questions that should have been answered.
Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and look at our questions here. Are there any Chrome OS tablets on the market? Not flip convertible, but actually running. And Anthony, you said no, none that you were aware of. I am not aware of any either. I am not either. I think the flip convertible options is all that we have right now. We are still seeing, more crossover all the time. Google has made it very clear they are not abandoning the Chromebooks. They're not, abandoning Android tablets, but they are doing more and more and more to make them similar, to make them crossover so that Android apps can run on Chrome and Chrome things can run on Android. But no, I'm not aware either, Anthony.
One interesting thing is that there's been teaser articles on the web going back to 2010 about this happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's been rumored forever. So, but I don't. I know. No, I do not know. What's next? The style scanner, April Fools. Although the style scans was a joke, search is the first step toward that. Yeah, I thought the style scanner was hysterical. I thought that one was really, really funny. That was one of their better videos they've got there. I don't see any other questions there at the moment. We'll check back again afterwards. You guys, please feel free to throw in any questions you have. Under show and tell, it looks like Katie is sharing her innovator project. So here's what's going on. Google changed Google Certified Teacher to become Google Certified Innovator a while ago, not too long back, but in the last year, they made a big change there. And Katie Ritter, who is one of the leaders of the Google Educator Group of Ohio, good friend of mine from down in the Cincinnati area there. Katie is an awesome educator, and she is it was the first class in the new group, so I guess it's fair to say Katie was one of the first ever new Google innovators, not one of us grandfathered people who got grandfathered into the new designation. But Katie went out to California to the Google Teacher Academy and is part of the new innovator program. And what they're doing a little bit different with the innovator program is they're having people work a little bit more explicitly on a project. That was always the case. You were supposed to do a project, but now they've really kind of ramped it up. And Katie has shared about her project. I'm actually working with one of the other new innovators as a innovator mentor who's doing a project as well. It looks like it's going to be totally awesome. It's this really neat math project. So once she's ready to tell more about it, I hope she'll share about that too. But Katie is doing one called Classroom Bridges to help connect classrooms around the world to work on any project together. So let's visit Katie's site here. Oh my gosh, Katie, that's gorgeous. I love it. Classroom Bridges. And so now, Katie, if you want to jump in the Hangout, I'm more than happy to pull you in and you can tell us all about this, because I'm obviously not going to do any good job explaining what all you've done here. But if all you wanted to do is give the link, that's fine. If you just want people to check it out, that's fine. But it looks like this is a site to allow folks all around the world to be able to connect on classroom projects. I love it. That looks really, really, really neat. What a neat project. So Katie, you let me know if you want to jump in the Hangout or if you have anything else you want to add to it. But if it's just an FYI to let people know that it exists, good job on creating that. And thank you for sharing that. Looking forward to seeing how that develops. Really, really like it. Awesome. All right. Other show and tell things. Don't probably need to go through a whole bunch of these. Just thought this was a cool Google Data Center. Oh, Katie's saying sure. Okay, I will send you an invite here, Katie. Give me just a second. I'll pull Katie into this real quick here. All right. So hopefully that makes it through to you, Katie. Just sent an invite. So if you are able to join us, that would be awesome. While we wait for that, under show and tell, we do have a VR tour of Google's data center. I thought this was cool. Again, it's using their 360 technology. If you want to see where your Google Docs are actually stored, this will allow you to go in and see Google's data center. And then this was kind of a cool extension came across. It was posted on Chrome Story. It's called Tab Organizer. If you end up having a ton of tabs open at once, it doesn't like remove any tabs. It just rearranges them grouped by the type of site it is. So it'll pull all of your YouTube tabs together or all of your Docs tabs together. I just thought that was a neat way to kind of clean up some tabs. But it looks like Katie is here with us. So I am going to turn this over to Katie. Let me get back over here to my screen, and I am going to make you the presenter, Katie. Here we go. And let me adjust my volume here. Katie, can you, let me test to make sure I can hear you okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks,
There
Eric.
you
Can
are.
you
Okay,
hear
and
me
I'm
okay?
going to mute myself, Katie, and I'm going to let you go ahead and take it, and I'm going to present this to everybody to see. All right, go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me okay, Eric?
Hear you perfect.
Okay, excellent. So thank you so much for letting me jump in. I'll be very quick, cognizant of everybody's time this morning, but essentially here's my site. Here's the home page, and it's really kind of in the beta version. I think tomorrow makes 1 month live. So essentially all you do is the little sign up page up at the top, and it takes you to this Google form here, and you fill out the page. And there we go. It looks like I'm lagging a little behind on the video. So essentially I just have this Google form that you fill out, and it has all kinds of information, contact information, and then information that the teacher would fill out about the classes that they teach, grade level, time zone, languages spoken, platform that they're using, and then a general overview of the curriculum that they will cover for the year. And then once you fill out the sign-up form, back up at the top is this Find a Classroom page. And when you come to this page, it will load a map. And you can actually, I used Awesome Tables to create this map here, but you can actually search and narrow it down by country, state, grade level, subject area, all of these different options, and then when you do that, so let's see, we'll narrow it down to Canada. It'll take me on the map to just the people in that particular area. And when you click on any little icon on the map, it will give you all of the information that that teacher filled out. You can also find it down in the table below the map as well. So then it's just up to the teachers on their own when they want to reach out to use the contact information that the teacher provided, and then reach out to them so that they can work on any project together. Maybe they just want to do a mystery hangout, or maybe they want to do something really involved and really in-depth for their students. So I'm working on a resources page. It's in its infancy here, but to give teachers some ideas on different things that they can do to connect their students. And then I just ask that, you know, if you do make a connection, and within a month I already have heard of 3 different teachers, and all of them or 3 different connections, all of the teachers in different countries. And so then just fill out a little form to tell me who you connected with and what you did. And then what I would really love from people, especially since it's such a young site, there's a feedback page up at the top. So if you just have any suggestions, ideas for improvement, I would love to hear those. So that's really it. Thank you so much for letting me jump in and join.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That is fantastic. That is so neat. Really appreciate that. Perfect tool for lots of people. And so, yeah, folks, definitely jump in there, sign up, spread the good news to people, and I can see that being a really valuable tool as we connect classes all around the world. Thanks, Katie. Awesome. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to sharing my screen. All right, excellent. And let me get back over here. Perfect. All right, so again, thanks to Katie for putting that together and for sharing that. Really look forward to seeing how that grows. And I love the use of Awesome Tables. I've been starting to use Awesome Tables more. I've used it for years, but never quite pushed it to the limit of what it can do. Holy cow, Awesome Tables is awesome. That is such a good tool, what you can do with it. If you're doing a website and you want people to be able to narrow down through lots of information, it is just, it's phenomenal what that tool does. And Katie's really put good use to it there. All right, also under show and tell, just as some quick reminders, although we don't have any upcoming webinars, we did have 3 within the last month. So if you did miss any of these, I did a webinar on using add-ons in Google Forms. And then Anthony did a webinar on technology tools to keep your library relevant. And then I did a webinar on using Google Slides to create student storybooks, for students to create their own storybooks. Really good for elementary aged kids. Has some templates in there you can use and shows you how to make storybooks out of slides. And then I do run my blog, controlaltachieve.com. And these are not every post, but some of the relevant posts from the last month. Definitely encourage you to check these out. Again, I won't go through all of those. I'll just mention a couple of key ones that are worth noting. For example, if you're new to Google Communities, I did put a post on here about what Google Communities are all about and how to join them and so forth. So if you are wanting to join, for example, GEG Ohio or other educator communities, I try to go through and explain what communities are, how they work, how you can use them in schools, what are some good example communities to join, and then threw in a recorded training to give you more details on that. So that one definitely ties in well, especially since this is GEG Ohio and the Spark Google user group. Another one that I think caught a lot of good attention in this last month was 26 YouTube shortcuts everybody should know about. Most all of us use YouTube and love it. A lot of great things there, but we may not be aware there's actually a lot of really cool built-in shortcuts, such as pausing and starting the video, jumping forwards and backwards in the video, jumping to certain parts of the video. But some of the things that I think are really neat here is most people don't know, I just haven't heard, that you can increase and decrease the speed of the video with the greater than and less than keys on your keyboard. So if you're watching a video and you want to get through it quicker, or they're talking too fast, you need to slow it down, that's available in there as well. So there's a lot, 26 shortcuts for YouTube in that article. Other ones, somebody had a question. They'd emailed me about how can you sort tables in Google Docs, because you can sort tables and sheets, but they weren't sure if you could do that in Docs. And so I did answer them, but that prompted me to post this article about how to do it. And basically it's using an add-on called Docs Tools. I got a short video that shows you how it works, but then I talk you through here about installing it and how you can go in and sort tables inside of Google Docs with that add-on. Another one probably worth calling your attention to is tools for word clouds. Word clouds are awesome. Everybody loves word clouds, and rightfully so. There's so many great ways to use them in school, whether it's analyzing student analyzing their writing, whether it's brainstorming ideas for class, analyzing famous speeches or writings, taking polls and votes and throwing them into cloud to see what's most popular. And normally when we've done word clouds in the past, we use things like Wordle or Tagxedo, which are great sites, but unfortunately they don't run on Chromebooks. Wordle uses Flash, or uses Java. I'm sorry, Wordle uses Java and Tagxedo uses Silverlight, and neither of those work on Chromebooks. So what I did is I tried a ton of different tools out there, and I found a bunch, and I narrowed it down to 5. There's way more than 5, but they're not all great. So I found 5 that I thought were really great that do work perfectly fine on Chromebooks. Tagul, T-A-G-U-L, is by far my favorite of the group. Oh my gosh, it is so awesome. So many features, so easy to use, so user-friendly, and creates really pretty, really awesome word clouds. So I like Tagul, but then there's word clouds for kids, which is probably better for younger students, not as many features. There's WordSift, there's the word cloud generator, and then there's also an add-on for Docs that does word cloud generation as well. So all of those are approved for use on a Chromebook, and would definitely encourage you to try those out. And then the last one to mention is a brand new, there's lots of other ones there, definitely, you can check them out on your own, but this one just posted today. You talk about hot off the presses, a writing prompt generator with Google Sheets. So you may not know, April is National Poetry Month, and so it's a great time to encourage students to read poetry, to learn about poets, and to write their own poetry as well. But sometimes what can be a challenge is getting started, actually beginning the poem. What do I write about? And so writing prompts can be very useful to help with this. Well, for several years, like seriously, the last 10 plus years or so, this has been something that I've kind of done for fun with my kids. I started doing with my daughter many, many years ago, is we would find writing prompt generators to create a whole bunch of crazy writing prompts. And then we would basically challenge each other to write a poem on something from that collection. So we'd pick like, 10 or 12 really funny writing prompts, and then we'd, split up for half an hour and come back with your best poem or something like that. And it was really a blast. We had a lot of fun with it. And I used a lot of different sites to accomplish that. Well, I decided, why not Google? Why can't Google help us with this? And absolutely, it does work. So what I did was I created a free Google Sheets writing prompt generator. And so if you come here to Control-Alt-Achieve and you go to this, my newest article, or if you just use the link here from the agenda today, and you scroll down, you will see a link to the spreadsheet. If you click the spreadsheet, it's going to ask you to make a copy. You'll get your own copy of it. And what it does is it'll give it a moment to create the copy. There we go. What it is a spreadsheet that has 3 tabs in it. The first tab is the actual writing prompts. The second tab is a list of about 2,000 adjectives, and the next tab is a list of about 1,000 nouns. And basically what this does is it randomly pulls one adjective and one noun and puts them together and gives you 20 prompts at a time. And so if you take a look here, some of them aren't gonna, work for you at all. They'll just be kind of silly, but there may be some that are like, oh, that's a really cool one. And so the idea is a student would make a copy of the template. They just click the link and make a copy. And then they would read through these, and I would encourage them to write down ones that look interesting. But don't stop with just 1 or 2. Find like, 10 or so that you really like. So if they look at this one, they say, oh, I got to write a poem. Oh, here's one on scary statistics. Or what else do we have here? A rosy camera, a horrid blade, an unsuitable bird. And then you say, oh, fast quicksand. That must be really quick. It's fast quicksand.
Faster.
Yeah, it's the really quick stuff. And then they just hit the refresh button, refresh it, and it grabs and pulls in 20 new combinations. And so now you come through here and you get things like mysterious drop and unused hook and longing chair, defiant pimple. Oh, that's a great one. So the point is they could write these down and come up with like 10 or so, and then from them either write a story, write a poem, use those in some way. And so that is freely available. Anybody can just use that, make a copy of it. I then go on a little bit deeper to talk about a few other things. There's a really cool add-on for docs called Rhyme Finder, that if you are writing a poem and your kids have picked one of these silly phrases to write on and they're getting stuck, Rhyme Finder will let you select any word in your Google Doc, and it will generate a list of all of the rhyming words for it. So that could help students broaden their ideas on rhyming words when they're writing a poem. And so there's information on that. And then in the article, I talk about sharing the student writing after you're done, which I think is a really important thing, that if a student writes something and it just goes to the teacher and that's it, and it's over and done, well, I mean, I think that's okay, but isn't it better if the students can have a broader, more authentic audience for what they write, so they can get feedback from other people, so they can share it with the world? So a little blurb here at the end that explains how to do the get shareable link option, which we talked about earlier today, to be able to get a shareable link that you can post on the class website or the classroom stream or Twitter or Facebook or something like that. So you can share student writing with a broader audience. And for those that care, at the very bottom, I included 6 of my poems that came from my poetry nights with my daughter and I. These are all randomly generated titles. My favorite in there is Moonstruck Conifer. That's just personal. That's my favorite. It's about a pine tree that's in love with a deciduous tree. And so that's my favorite, but I've also got a soft spot in my heart for Elemental Love, which is a poem written with chemical symbols from the periodic table. So there's some other fun ones in there as well.
This was a candle fragrance.
You thought it was a candle fragrance? Yes, yeah, they could be. So I went ahead in the spirit of sharing and shared those. So you can open up any of those if you want to take a look at those. All right, fantastic. And then at this point, Anthony, I'm going to turn it over to you. We've got just a few minutes left, but hopefully that gives you time to talk about the things you wanted to share.
I'm going to talk and let you drive.
Oh, yes, fine.
Well, I have a few items from my web resource hoarder site. By the way, Eric named the site, so he's always getting good names for things. And I'll let you go through this, but there's basically, I'm going to skip the maps for right now. There's a section on financial literacy. I've had a lot of people ask about financial literacy links. So it's growing, but there's a good start for you there for all different grade levels.
Okay.
The next item is on, don't go to the next one right now, but it's on fair use OCR. It's basically a document.
Okay.
The latest one I put together is on dates, times, epochs, chronology. It's a sort of a catch-all for everything from teaching time to using time in equations to the history of time to happens this day, astronomy, satellite tracking, et cetera, et cetera.
Excellent.
And then I have some weird one I just found called Classroom Bridges. If you click on that link, it'll take you to the teacher resource page. And if you scroll down just a little bit too far, there it is, right below We Are Teachers, right at the bottom of your page.
All right, there's Katie's class.
Thank you, Katie.
So that's been added in. Anthony very quickly added that into the teacher resource page.
That's why I'm the hoarder.
That's why you're the hoarder.
Okay, the next section, I usually do a search item. This week is a little bit different. It's not really a search engine, but it's a site that I thought was really interesting because they use examples of Google Advanced Search. So they put some of the items in for you, and you can play around with this and see how some of them work. But they've used some of the syntax and some of the tools that you would use on Google Advanced Search. So, for example, when you're searching for the surnames, the little tilde in front of it means it's going to find synonyms.
Okay, so if I search for my surname and I have the tilde genealogy, it's going to find websites that have my name and genealogy or genealogies or genealogical
or geocode
or something like that. All right.
But the site's good, but the site also really gives you a good understanding of some of the advanced Google search features and some of the syntax. So you could use it as a site to teach some of the searching skills, even if you weren't using it for genealogy.
Awesome.
So just sort of threw that out there. And then the last thing is sometimes I get started on one article that has like 9 tips on using Google Docs. You can just click on that real quick. It just takes you out to a document that's only 30 pages long.
30 pages.
Just a small computation of things around the web, of things you never could believe that you could do with Google Docs. If you
Google Maps.
Google Maps, I'm sorry. Google
This
Maps.
is all about Google Maps.
This, if you go to the table of contents, we'll just stop there. This
right.
is just some things you can do that you may never realize you can do with Google Maps. Well, I'm going to keep saying that over and over again.
And then this goes through all of those things.
Yes. It's a collection of collections. Down near the bottom is actually some of the most interesting ones.
My gosh, it's a lot of stuff.
A little bit too far. Just keep going down. We're only on page 13.
Which page?
20. I think it's 22. That's pretty bad when you get that. Nah, a little bit further still. Keep going. You'll be able to tell because it'll be a Google Maps logo that'll stick up bump. Okay, stop right there. I'm not sure if you realize there's a Google Maps official blog out there. Also building distance finder with Google Maps APIs, an easy map maker, and then the fact that you can have some good mapping add-ons for Google Sheets to let you take your data and create maps from it. So I'll let you explore that on your own.
Excellent.
Just waste a couple 100 hours on it this weekend.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you for pulling all of those resources together, Anthony. As always, Anthony is our web resource hoarder and pulls those things together for people to take advantage of. Well, folks, we are just about out of time. So here's what we're going to do. I'll do a couple of quick reminders as we wrap up. But if anybody here has any questions or comments, you still have just a few minutes to squeeze them in. But as we go ahead, what happened to our... we lost your link. Oh, that's okay. That's fine. So as we wrap this up today, a couple things I just want to remind everybody of. First of all, remember everything from today can be found at google.apps.spark.org/user group. That is the main user group page. From there, you can get to the agenda from today. The YouTube video link will be here later when I get a chance to clean it up a little bit and post that so you can share that with other people to watch. You can also see previous ones there. And don't forget that if you did not sign in for the meeting, Under the important links section, there is a sign-in link to sign in. And this form will allow us to send you a certificate of attendance for 2 contact hours so that you can turn that into your school for LPDC or whatever you do for professional development. But it also allows us to report numbers to Google. We don't give them any of your information, but we do report numbers of how many people participated in the meeting. Other than that, please do consider joining either the Spark user group and or the Google user group of Ohio, the GEG Ohio group. And please stay in touch with us. We've got trainings coming up. We've got the conference, come to boot camp, present at the conference, attend the conference. May is a little up in the air right now. It says TBA. We will let you know.
It'll be a Sunday afternoon.
The problem is May, things get a little crazy, especially with school schedules with the end of the year. We are going to see if we can perhaps do a user group meetup at the conference, the Google Ohio Summit, May 16th and 17th at the OSU Student Union. We're definitely going to be there. We're going to have a booth there. We'll see, maybe we can pull off some sort of a meetup. We've done those in the past. I'm not sure what it might look like this time, but that may become our main meeting. It may just be a meetup. We may not have the traditional one. So if it does work out, we'll let you guys know, as always, through all of these different methods that we post. Anthony, did you see any other questions or comments?
You think
you got them all taken care of? So folks, I just want to thank you so much for being with us here today. Please feel free to stay in touch with us. You can see my email address, my Twitter account, Anthony's email address there if you need to get in touch with us. And other than that, thanks so much. Take care and enjoy as we wrap up the end of this school year. It's been a fantastic one, and looking forward to a lot more great things to come.
Thank you.